What is up, everybody? So behind me we have the first stage of my van build now complete, and that was a layer of sound deadening and a layer of lizard skin on the interior of the van. I'm actually a little bit new to lizard skin. I've been in the industry for quite a while, but lizard skin treatments weren't something that we were doing in the shop all that often. My mind was changed and I knew that I had to put this in my new van. When I got a demo, I saw a van that was in a parking lot. It had the lizard skin applied and it was really hot outside. The sun was beating down on the walls of the van, and we went inside and it felt noticeably cooler than outside, which is usually the opposite for a van. It feels hotter inside than it does outside. You could actually touch the surfaces where the sun was hitting and it was not hot. The heat from the outside was not transferring through to the inside. And since I'm going to be building this van for all weather, all seasons, different conditions, we absolutely wanted to have the best insulation possible. Now that everything is installed, today is going to be the day, hopefully, that we test it. It's supposed to get up to about 85 or 90 degrees today, so I'm going to get inside the van with my little heat gun and we're going to see how well this treatment works. One more thing to mention, I did not do the heat shield on the rear doors yet. I thought about it and I don't know exactly what type of rear door finish I'm going to have, so I decided not to do the heat shield yet because I don't want the black color of it to be showing if I leave some of this door frame exposed. Also, the window is going to be cut out. We're putting in a vented window there. Otherwise, everything inside the van has the heat shield on it except the floor, and we don't need to apply it there because there's no direct heat radiating up from the floor generally, but we did do the sound coating on the floor. So anywhere you see gray is the sound coating and the heat shield is on top of that. We actually did sound coating on the entire van, floor, walls, ceiling, rear doors, and then we did the heat shield over it, and that is the recommended application. In this video, we're gonna go over everything you need to know about the lizard skin sound coat and heat shield. We're gonna show you guys how we installed it, and we even had Cody from Lizard Skin here with us in the shop when we did the installation, so you are gonna hear it direct from the experts, everything you need to know about lizard skin. Let's do it.
Hi there, I'm Cody Watson. I'm with Lizard Skin Coatings. Today we are going to be talking about two products used in this vehicle. The two products we're going to be working with is our sound control and our heat insulation. Both are water-based, one-part acrylic coatings designed for damping vibrations for the sound control and reducing heat transfer with the heat control. This product is best used on the base of the vehicle, walls and ceiling, or anywhere where vibrations are traveling from, whether it be road noise, the vehicle itself, or other elements. Heat insulation can be applied directly over the sound control. It does require at least 24 hours between the two, and both products are applied in the same exact fashion. Two coats of about 20 to 24 mils wet allow it to fully dry. It takes about 2 hours in temperatures above 70 degrees, and then from there you can apply the second coat directly over top.
Here is the process to apply lizard skin to the inside of your vehicle. First of all, make sure you are applying at temperatures above 60 degrees. You want to mask off any areas that you don't want to spray. Overspray would be a really big problem, so take extra care to mask off anything that you don't want the product getting on. Next, make sure the interior is clean and free of any debris. Just make sure you have a nice clean van to start with. Now you want to lightly scuff the metal surfaces so that the product will stick to the metal. You can take a scuff pad and go over everything just to take the shine off. That's typically enough. Next, you want to wipe down everything with a cloth using a little bit of isopropyl alcohol. This will make sure that all of the scuffing, dust, and any oils are removed. Now for spraying, you're going to apply a 20 ml coat of the sound deadening to all areas of the inside of the van, including the floor, and then you're going to let this dry for 2 hours. You're going to do a second coat of the sound deadening, again over everything on the van. You want 2 coats total, and then you're going to let this dry for 24 hours or until the material is completely dry. Now for the sound insulation, you're going to go ahead and spray a 20 ml coat on everywhere that the sun can hit. You're going to let the first coat dry for 2 hours, and then you're going to come back and do a second 20 ml coat and then let that dry for 24 hours. So if you're wondering how much this project cost, We used 10 gallons of the sound control for $840 and 10 gallons of the heat insulation at $870. If you do need the spray kit, that's $195, and we do recommend getting an extra cup for the sprayer that will help the project go a lot faster, and that's $30. So the total cost was $1,935 plus shipping, and the time investment, it took 2 days in total. That's about 6 to 8 hours of labor time because there is a lot of time spent waiting.
If you're wondering what lizard skin actually is and how it works, why don't we take a little dive into the chemical properties of lizard skin and how those actually prevent the heat from transferring from the outside of the van to the inside. So lizard skin is technically a ceramic insulation, and I'm not a chemical engineer, but I do know that the method that it uses is to trap very small microscopic air bubbles in the material to prevent the transfer of heat from one surface to the other side of that surface. Also, the material that it's made out of, the ceramic itself, which is also often silica or something like that, is not a conductive material. So it's non-metallic, and the material itself doesn't transmit heat. Then it also has the bubbles, air bubbles trapped in the material, again, reducing the transfer of heat. And then also it tends to much reduce the radiation of heat. So when you get to very high temperatures, like if you're sitting in the direct sun for hours and hours, there is no radiation, conduction, or convection across the material, or it's greatly reduced. Another thing to mention is that lizard skin is a water-based product. And being such, it is not that difficult to apply, and you don't have to go through extreme measures to protect yourself from touching the material or being in the same area as it. You may see some videos out there with people wearing full Tyvek suits and respirators in order to apply lizard skin, but it is really just a water-based product. It is non-toxic, and of course you do want to protect yourself from getting it in your eyes, in your mouth, in your nose, and you would want to wear some clothes that you're not extremely concerned about getting a little bit dirty. But it is really easy to clean up with just water. So anything you might use to apply it, you can stick in a bucket of water and it will clean right up. If you spray it somewhere that you didn't want to, you can also, if you get to it right away, you can just wipe it off and clean it up with water before it dries. So let's talk about who should absolutely be using lizard skin on the inside of their vehicle, because I know not everyone is going to do this treatment, just considering that there is a cost associated with buying the product and then also the time investment to apply it. But there are a few groups of people that I think absolutely should be using lizard skin. Number one would be anybody who just wants the highest level of thermal and sound protection in their van, because there really is nothing else like lizard skin in terms of keeping that heat from radiating from the outside of the van to the inside. Secondly would be anybody who lives in a hot or humid environment. You guys already know, if you live there, that air conditioners have a hard time keeping up, and keeping the heat out of the van in the first place is the number one most important thing to keeping it cool inside. Number three would be anyone who has a pet or an animal that they plan to leave inside the vehicle for any amount of time. Of course, you want the highest level of safety and protection from the inside of the vehicle overheating. And lizard skin is going to do a lot in passively keeping the heat out. So if your air conditioner goes out, you at least have some protection on the inside. And the last group of people would be anyone where the insulation layer that we would typically do, like a Thinsulate, is too thick or bulky and it needs to be a thinner layer. Lizard skin is perfect for that. So go ahead and leave a comment, guys. I'd like to know if you guys plan to use this product or not, and what your reason would be, so we can help understand who is really going to take advantage of lizard skin.
Here we are inside of the van. It is definitely a hot day. It's probably around 90 degrees outside. I went ahead and I parked the van with this side, the passenger side, directly in the sun. I've had it that way for about an hour because here I have an untreated door and the treated wall of the van right next to each other. So I think we should be able to get a really good comparison of what the lizard skin is doing. Now, granted, I do have a lighter color van, so I do get some reflection from the paint on the outside. If you have a darker van, this is going to be even more important. But let's go ahead and see what the temperature differential is and see how good the lizard skin is working. So if I go on the untreated surface here, take a reading, we're getting in the neighborhood of 122 degrees. On the treated surface, it is 103. And granted, some of this heat is going to be coming from the inside, but we're getting about a 20-degree difference just in the material temperature itself. Let me take a couple more. So yeah, I got 100 degrees on the treated surface. Around 100 to 102 is what I'm seeing, and then again, the untreated surface, 120, 121, something like that. But the thing that I notice the most is when you actually touch it, when you put your hand on the material. So here, untreated surface, if I put my hand on it, quickly becomes almost too hot. There's definitely conduction of the heat coming through. Whereas when I touch any of these surfaces, you know, they are warm, they're in the sun, but the heat doesn't continually keep accumulating and adding up to the point where it feels like I have to take my hand away. It's actually quite cool compared to that metal. I mean, you'd have no problem leaning your arm or your hand up against this. And again, if we come over here and touch this material, it's becoming too hot to touch. And if it was just a little bit hotter outside, I think it would be. Again, the ceiling, you know, being outside in full sun, like, it's warm, it's not cold, but there's no excessive heat coming off of it. This is great. So I'm very glad I did this treatment. I know that when I'm out in really hot places, I'm gonna have that extra layer of protection, keeping the inside cool and all of the heat out there. We do provide a full installation video with your purchase of Lizard Skin. And as always, Vanland Club members get access to all of our videos, including our Lizard Skin application video for free.